Hi, okay. So the first picture book I decided to read this week was The Stuff of Stars. This book was written by Marion Dane Bauer. This book is a Coretta Scott King Illustrator Award winner. If I had to give this book a rating, I would give it a 3 out of 5-star rating. I thought that this was an interesting book. This book allowed me to understand the Big Bang that created the planets. The theme of the book is the start of something new. We can see this theme by the fact that this book talks about the creation of the planets, including the Earth. This book makes me think about how there are things in this world that can start as nothing, but then turn into something amazing. If I had to choose one thing that I didn't like about this book, it would be how it was a bit dull at times. It wasn't terrible, but it could be a bit better. If I had to choose one thing that I did really like about this book, it would be the illustrations. I thought that they were really beautiful and they used lots of amazing colors. This wasn't my favorite book, but it wasn't my least favorite that I've read this semester. The next picture book I decided to read was Song and Dance Man. This book was written by Karen Ackerman. This book is a Caldecott Medal Award winner. If I have to give this book a rating, I would give it a 4 out of 5-star rating. I thought that this book was interesting. This book allowed me to understand the connection of grandchildren and grandparents. The theme of this book is you're never too old to do what you love. We can see this theme throughout the book. We can see this when the grandpa is dancing and singing for his grandchildren like he used to do when he was younger. This book makes me think about how life is too short and how if we want to do something, we shouldn't wait. We should do what we love when we want to. If I had to choose one thing that I didn't like about this book, it would be how bare some of the pictures were. I felt that they could have used a little bit more color. There was too much white for me. If I had to choose one thing that I really did like about this book, it would be how interesting the plot was. I love the connection between grandchildren and grandparents, me specifically living with my grandparents. It's amazing. This was one of the better books that I have read, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. The last book I read this week was my chapter book. I read The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963. This book was written by Christopher Paul Curtis. This book received the Newbery Medal. If I had to give this book a rating, it would be a 5 out of 5-star rating. I thought that this book was phenomenal. This book allowed me to understand in a way what African Americans had to go through in 1963. They had terrible struggles with racism, and it was insane to actually read and learn more about it than what I already knew and know. The theme of this book is family. We can see this theme being told throughout the story because we can see through Kenny's eyes and how he understands the love of family. This book makes me think about how there is still struggles with racism today, but it isn't as terrible as it was back in that time. If I had to choose one thing that I didn't like about this book, it would be that I wish it was a bit longer. It was such an amazing book. If I had to choose one thing that I did like about this book, it would probably be everything. I truly love this book, and it was probably my favorite book out of the whole semester.